don't know why it was recording, but it was. We're going to be reading the Bible, and if that's something that dismays you, then you may now click out of this video without feeling any guilt, because I can't make you stay here. It's probably a bad idea because my Bible's right here, but I'm going to pour myself a drink first, because... And it's not alcoholic, it is tea. But I've been trying to make better choices, but I keep gaining like the 5 pounds back and then losing it. I'm down 50 pounds. The most weight that I've had off is 52. Then I started gaining it back, and I'm really not proud of that. I'm really not okay with it. I really don't like it. But I figure that if I sit here and I read the Bible, and I'm not going to be up eating all night, so there's that. So this is about Nehemiah and the walls of Jerusalem. And I've never really read Nehemiah. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm shocked that I have gotten through so much of this. This is the part of it that I've read. This is the part I haven't read yet. And it's still not anywhere near that much of the actual Bible. So it's crazy, a little bit. But yeah, this is about, like, and I'm gonna read, so it gives you, like, prompts where it says, like, the reading that applies to it, and then it has, like, the full reading. So the reading that, like, more so applies to it, I guess, is Nehemiah for the first chapter and the second one. But then it says 1 through 6 is the full reading, and then 12, 27 to 13, 31. I will read those ones, like, off camera, because I don't know how much space I have on my phone to record, I'm going to be honest with you. But also, I have a cold, so me reading right now, this nasally stuffiness, I can't stand listening to me talk. So I know listening to me read is going to be agony. But wait. Okay, that's not too bad. Because I've already read the little part in here that summarizes it. I haven't read the part that says today, like when it jumps forward. If you don't know about this Bible study, like, I would recommend it. They sell it on TikTok. I don't know where else they sell it, but I got it a couple years ago, and I've used it off and on, and I've been trying to use it more so lately. But it's about how the walls of Jerusalem fell, and how Nehemiah was waiting for God's timing to let him participate in restoration. So, there is a name of a king in here that I have trouble pronouncing. And in my head, I know it's like what it is. Artaxerxes. Artaxerxes. It sounds weird when I say it. I feel like if somebody said it in the right accent, it would sound okay and I would get it. But me saying it just doesn't compute in my brain. Anyways, the words of Nehemiah, the son of Achaliah. I can't read these names. And it came to pass in the month Chislev, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan, the palace, that Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem, and they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And it came to pass, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept. And mourned certain days, and fasted, and prayed before God, the God of heaven, and said, I beseech thee, O Lord God of heaven, the great and terrible God, that keepeth covenant and mercy for them that love him and observe his commandments. Let thine ear now be attentive, and thine eyes open, that thou mayest hear in prayer of thy servant, which I pray before thee now, day and night. for the children of Israel thy servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against thee. Both I and my father's house have sinned. We have dealt very corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgments which thou commandedst thy servant Moses. Remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou commandest thy servant Moses, saying, if ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. But if ye turn unto me, and keep my commandments, and do them, there were of you cast out. Keep my commandments, and do them, though there were of you cast out unto the uttermost part of the heaven, yet will I gather them from thence, and will bring them unto the place that I have chosen to set my name there. Now these are thy servants and thy people whom thou hast redeemed by the great power and by thy strong hand. O Lord, I beseech thee, let now thine ear be attentive to the prayer of thy servant, and to the prayer of thy servants whose desire to fear thy name, and prosper, I pray thee, thy servant this day, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man, for I was the king's cupbearer. Here comes the part where I have to say this name, and I don't want to butcher it. I butcher all the other names. I would like to get one of them right. And it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, that wine was before him, and I took up the wine and gave it unto the king. Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid. That is my cat. She has a full bowl of food on the porch she refuses to eat. This is the same food that she's been eating all week, with no problems. She came in here last night and was licking her fur. Then she went out and ate, and she threw up food and her fur. Why am I telling you this? Because she refuses to eat that food now, even though it wasn't the food that made her sick, it was her fur. Yeah. It doesn't matter what kind of food I buy. She does this. She'll eat it at first, and then if you hear her meowing and I don't listen, it's not because I don't care. It's not because I don't love my cat. It's because she wants human food. But she doesn't need it, and it's bad for her anyway. Wherefore thy king said unto me, why is thou countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid, and said unto the king, let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad, when the city, the place of my fathers, I do not know how to pronounce that word, Sepulchres, 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 layeth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire. Then the king said unto me, for what dost thou make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city of my fathers Sepulchres, that I may build it. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him, for how long shall thy journey be, and when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me. And I set him a time. Moreover, I said unto the king, if it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come into Judah. And a letter unto Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the palace, which appertained to the house, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall enter into. And the king granted me, according to the good hand of my God upon me. Then I came to the governors beyond the river and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent captains of the army and horsemen with me. When Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly that there was come a man to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. Give me a second. So my cat's in here now, and I've taken nasal spray. I fed her like a little bit of a slice of cheese, but she's being very snobby. Like stuff she would normally eat, she doesn't want to eat, and I'm worried about her. The welfare of the children of Israel. So I came to Jerusalem and was there 3 days, and I arose in the night, and I and some few men with me, neither told I any man with what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. Neither was there any beast with me, save the beast that I rode upon. And I went out by night by the gate of the valley, even before the dragon well, and to the dung port, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem, which were broken down, and the gates thereof were consumed with fire. Then I went on to the gate of the fountain, and to the king's pool, and there was no place for the beast that was under me to pass. Then I went up in the night by the brook, and viewed the wall, and turned back, and entered by the gate of the valley, and so returned. And the rulers knew not whither I went, or what I did, neither had I as yet told it to the Jews, neither had I as yet told it to the Jews, nor to the priests, nor to the nobles, nor to the rulers, nor to the rest that did the work. Then said I unto them, Ye see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lieth waste, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Come and let us build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more a reproach. Then I told them of the hand of my God, which was good upon me, as also the king's words that he had spoken unto me. And they said, Let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for this good work. But when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arabian heard it, they laughed us to scorn, and despised us, and said, What is this thing that ye do? Will ye rebel against the king? Then answered I them, and said unto them, The God of heaven, he will prosper us. Therefore we his servants will arise and build, but ye have no portion, nor right, nor memorial in Jerusalem. I will read the rest of this after, like, off camera, because I'm sick, and listening to me read, I know it's just, right now, it's just awful. So, let's go to the part where it says today. When we are grieved by a situation of brokenness, how quickly do we respond, and how much do we trust God to make a way for restoration? We might notice something that needs healing on a grand scale, like Nehemiah's project for the welfare of a whole city. Alternatively, it might be on a smaller scale, like bringing a new form of care and justice into our neighborhood, or for God's healing to enter a long-standing dynamic in our family, or for something that needs repair in our own heart. Nehemiah's deliberate and prayerful slowness invites us to reflect on our own pace of engaging with God about the places in need of repair around and within us, no matter how daunting. And it reminds us that God is the one who will make a way. We may feel overwhelmed when we notice that something is broken. We may find it difficult to respond or act at all. On the other hand, in a hurried society, we might respond with immediate action to gain a sense of false control over the situation. Nehemiah shows us another way. He does act, which is crucial, but it's surrounded in prayer, slowness, and intentionality. Each step along the way includes him praying intention to his own feelings, to his surroundings, and maybe most importantly definitely, to how God is showing up. His slowness is enabled by his persistent trust in God, and God responds in partnership with Nehemiah. What seemed like an overwhelming task is possible because God is forging a path forward. What would it look like to respond to the brokenness we notice in our lives and our world with the deliberate slowness and persistent trust that Nehemiah has? Could we also ground ourselves in prayer, make space for feelings of pain and grief, then remain attentive to God's power and movement? Could we trust God to work with us towards restoration? So it says, sit up straight, take a deep breath, and using the art element on the previous page, take a moment to reflect on the story. It's a very... So they usually have a bigger version of it. And they do. Let me just get to it here. Which, actually, that's not it. This is just part of it, but it's like building blocks, you know. And then this is what it looks like on this page. So I don't know if it's supposed to be a completely different work of art or if it's from a distance. But it says, invite God to speak to you. What was a time when you rushed in to fix a problem without spending time with yourself and with God first? So I think, for me, it's when, like for me most recently, it would have been when I was trying to get PTO, which I'm on that PTO right now, so obviously it worked, right? But I've had this thought in my head that I won't get granted PTO because the people who I have to ask don't care for me very much. And basically I had prayed about, the weird thing about it was, I ended up walking into work one day and having a meeting with these people. And I'm not going to mention names or where I work because, you know, there's no point, because this is something that can relate to anywhere that you work, right? But I had prayed to have a better relationship and less bad feelings toward these individuals. I had actually prayed about that. And during this meeting, it kind of came to an understanding of, like, I'm not a pain in the butt. I can come talk to them about things. And my problem is, and this is not relating to this story at all, right? But the reason I think that I'm a pain in a work environment, or that I have, like, you know, that I can't just walk up to a superior and be like, hey, like everyone else can, whenever I have something to talk about or something that I need, is because I think if I've ever made a mistake, or had a problem in front of this person, that's all they see when they look at me. They don't see the person who comes in every day, or most of the time, without fail. They don't see the person who would be willing to stay if something went wrong. They don't see the person who has been there however long I've been there, right? They see my mistakes. They see the time I forgot to do A, B, C, or D. They see the time that I messed up this or messed up that. And in my head, I think that when they look at me, they're replaying my mistakes. I know I'm probably not the only one that has that problem, but I don't like that, and I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel that way about myself, and I don't want other people to feel that way about me, but I also don't want to sit there and think that people feel that way about me, when it's probably not true, and I know it's probably not true. But, yeah, I just wanted to explain kind of where that was coming from. But yeah, that's one of the situations where I was worried about it, and I was convinced that something was going to keep me from having to have time off or whatever, and I never asked for time off. If I call off, I don't even like doing it. I don't even like asking for time off, because I feel like I'm letting somebody down. Or people are going to, like, think I'm lazy or whatever. What might you have done differently if you had brought the issue to God before acting? Well, I would have probably actually just walked into the person's office and talked to them about it. But stubborn me believes that I can't do that. It can't be that simple. And I don't know why I'm that way. I really don't like the things that my brain tells me sometimes. I know they're not true, but they're in my head, and they need to stop. And that's another thing I've been praying about. Just having a better mentality and a better view on life, and just being happier and less of a negative person, because don't know if you've noticed from watching my videos, but I'm very sarcastic and very mean to myself. And it's not good. It's not good for me. Okay. Do you have a story in which God made even the most unlikely or surprisingly practical aspects come into place for goodness or for goodness to be done? Well, that example. That example, and when I was, because I went to the Ren Fair Saturday. And originally the plan was for me to drive a certain distance and park somewhere, and they were going to pick me up there. But my car has been I don't think it's actually overheating. I think it's a sensor or something, or the gauge. But because I didn't know, I wasn't sure about being able to drive that far at 4 in the morning. And I wasn't sure if my car would cooperate on the way back if it was sitting in the sun all day in that parking lot. I also wasn't sure if the people at the store would be okay with me parking there all day. But it had came to be that the person was just going to pick me up here. And I appreciate that so much. And I even smiled and laughed because I realized that was God. And then on the way there, I had really, really, really bad motion sickness. And I don't hold that against anybody. My body just was not ready for a 5-hour drive in an unfamiliar stretch of highway. I honestly believe that's what it was. And the fact that I had a head cold or whatever going on. And I hadn't slept the previous night because I got home from work and I had to shower, clean my house a little bit, grab what I was going to take with me, because I was taking water with me and drinks and cough drops and stuff because I have a cold. And I didn't even think to get Dramamine. I didn't think I was going to get motion sickness. It's something that I never got till I was 19. But when I get it, it won't go away. Sometimes I can fight it off if it's but this was bad. I quite a few times. And it was because I had a migraine from being up all night, and my migraines get so bad that they make me nauseous. Then the nausea from the motion sickness, then it's just bad. But on the way back, we had stopped at Walmart, and I had prayed so hard, please God, take this away. I just don't want to, I don't want to ruin everything for everybody. I didn't say it exactly like that, but it felt like me being sick and me being was ruining the good time for everybody. Which was only 3 people in the car, but I was still oh my God, I can't believe this. I really hope I don't throw up on this person's seats. I don't want to do that. And the whole way back, I was fine. I was so worried that I barely ate anything when I was there, and I didn't want to, I had bought chips, and I didn't eat them till I got home, because I was so afraid that if I put anything in my stomach, it was coming back up, and I didn't want that to happen. But I was okay. Everything was okay. I had a good time, and the costumes that these people had there were amazing. I kind of wish I would have took more pictures and stuff like that, but I was just kind of in the moment. Also, I'd recommend, if you ever get the opportunity to go to a Renaissance fair, go. It was awesome. How can we be more sensitive to when God is doing more than we know, so that we can attentively wait for our time to participate in restoration? We can listen and we can pray and we can actually take time instead of looking at whatever situation it is and thinking that we have the control. Because there's other things in my life that this lesson could apply to. But I've talked about them in nauseam. I've thought about them in nauseam. I've prayed about it so much, and God's probably sick of hearing me pray about this person. But I ultimately, even though I will continue to pray for this person, I also ultimately realize it is in God's hands. That person is in God's hands. That person is in God's charge. And unless God directly tells me to contact that person or talk to them, or directly has them reach out to me, it's okay. It's all going to be okay. But I will not talk about it anymore. I know I kind of just did, but like, I'm trying to, I can't put it in God's hands if I keep thinking about it and worrying about it and talking about it. So that's basically what I'm getting at. So I wrote that one on the next page, and I forgot that I did that. So, it always has a prayer at the end of it. My cat's here looking at me. O God of restoration, may I see your way being made behind the scenes and in the unexpected things. May I know when to be slow and allow you to set me up to participate in making the world whole. Amen. And it's interesting because in this story it's talking about somebody traveling and taking it upon themselves, with God's help, to like rebuild the gates and walls of an entire city. Most of us by ourselves would never even think to like try to gather the materials or try and go do that. We would just be like, that's that and all, but I'm gonna stay here and be the person that makes sure the king has unpoisoned wine. That's my job. Like, and people would understand. People would not call you selfish for that, because that's what Nehemiah's job was. He was like the person that made sure the king's wine wasn't poisoned. And at the same time, it's like, maybe there was part of him that felt like, I like my job, but I could be doing more. But at the same time as wanting to do more, and, you know, feeling pain about Jerusalem being, you know, the walls being destroyed and stuff, he probably was like, you know, but I'm going to wait until God tells me to do this. I'm going to wait and see if God tells me to do this. And he did. Thank you for watching this video. I know that I'm not very good at reading the names in the Bible, and I need to get better at that, but I appreciate anybody who watches my videos, especially these longer ones where I'm reading the Bible, because I know it's also not the most interesting thing in the world. So, thank you very much, and God bless.